It all starts on the day of the awakening, and we see a frozen place packed with adventurers. Just ahead, they find the entrance to the Death Portal, which is a high-ranked dungeon. On top of that, this place is known for being the first dungeon level to ever appear, and many warriors have already lost their lives here. However, we see our MC, who decided to face this challenge all alone, even at the risk of losing his life. Su Ming seems to be a real beast in a fight, since he managed to take down the strongest divine beast of all. But the mood gets heavy when some losers surround the area, telling our boy to hand over the sacred item he snagged. The blondie says the god of slaughter's time is over and tells him to surrender. Our boy realizes it was all just an ambush while he was busy clearing the dungeon. As soon as he looks to the side, the MC sees the familiar face of Zhang Tang, who's leading this pack of scumbags. Pointing his weapon, Zhang Tang tells him to hand over the artifact, saying he won't take him out just because of their old friendship. But he cracks a wicked smile and warns that he's just going to wipe out all of our MC's abilities. Our boy is disappointed and says he was such an idiot for thinking of that jerk as a brother since they were 18. Looking right at the traitor, he realizes just how venomous that guy really is. And finally, our boy raises his sword and decides to show him what happens to anyone who tries to steal his loot. The impact of the sword was so strong it made everything shake. With his sword drawn, Su Ming dares the losers to try and steal his sacred ring. RAO! However, Zhang Tang's goons hesitate as they feel the overwhelming pressure coming from that weapon. Even so, the villain gives a smirk because he knows his evil plan is going perfectly. Suddenly, someone comes flying through the skies, quickly approaching the scene of the commotion. Our MC is confused by this presence heading his way. It's the beautiful Ren Xiaoman, showing up in the middle of all that chaos. As soon as our boy realizes who it is, he ends up letting his guard down. Running into his arms, the girl says she was so worried about the ambush. Our boy smiles relieved and tells her he got the sacred item, but he mentions he doesn't get how those guys found out where he was. Meanwhile, Zhang Tang watches everything from a distance with a look that says he's already predicted every move. A pain strikes the hero's chest, coming from the one he trusted most. Looking back, Su Ming asks why Ren Xiaoman did that. The leader of the traitors celebrates and activates a magic barrier to trap our boy. A giant magic circle appears to seal our MC. Trapped by chains, Su Ming understands he was betrayed by the person he trusted most. On top of that, Zhang Tang and Ren Xiaoman laugh in his face, revealing they only wanted to steal his power. They admit they used our boy's 9-star ability just to get the sacred loot. Filled with rage, our MC screams in anger, trying to break free from that cursed seal. But the hunters don't waste any time and attack, wanting to finish him off. However, a skeletal hand sprouts from the ground and stops the enemies. In the middle of that explosion, a new person appears to protect our boy, who's paralyzed. Surprised by what he sees, Su Ming wonders why that girl decided to show up right now. This girl is Ji Yao, and she makes it clear she won't let anyone lay a hand on the MC. The necromancer tells our boy not to give up, since those scumbags don't deserve to keep the loot. But Zhang Tang gets angry and says that not even her arrival will change his fate. And so, the fight escalates to an insane level with magic and swords clashing. The villain charges forward with everything he's got and orders his men to take out anyone who gets in their way. But Ji Yao senses danger coming and warns our boy to be on high alert. And out of nowhere, the villain attacks Ji Yao by surprise. Taking advantage of her lowered guard, he lands a sword strike. But seeing his only friend get attacked, our MC's eyes go wide in disbelief. Even while trapped, our MC tries to react, but Zhang Tang says it's no use fighting back. On top of that, the jerk continues his merciless attacks to end it quickly. Our MC is on the verge of giving up on his life when he remembers his friend, almost gone, on the ground. He screams with all the rage inside him, activating a divine ability. And a giant explosion hits the battlefield, sending everyone flying. Reaching out his hand, he holds Ji Yao in his arms and mourns what happened to her. Our MC feels his friend's life slipping away. Smiling with difficulty, she asks him not to be sad and says it wasn't his fault. Right after, a sword falls from the heavens, and our MC appears holding his friend's body and makes an oath of vengeance against them all. Totally livid, Su Ming swears that if he ever comes back, he'll make Ren Xiaoman and Zhang Tang pay for everything. But the scumbags are confused and start to get scared because they have no idea what our MC is planning. Zhang Tang realizes our boy's plan is to take the sacred item straight into the cavern of death. And the villain starts yelling desperately, ordering his men to stop the MC from jumping into the abyss. Meanwhile, Su Ming looks at them with a smirk and asks if they really want the ring. Then he leaps into the void holding Ji Yao, daring them to try and get the artifact down in the abyss. As he's falling, the golden ring emits a blinding light, and our boy vanishes into the abyss. Everything goes dark, and our boy wonders if he really passed away in that fall. And right after that, a super bright light starts to shine, blinding his vision. Little by little, the brightness fades, and we see a hand rising toward the sky. Looking around, Su Ming realizes he's in a different place and tries to figure out where he ended up. At that moment, a man holding a microphone starts talking to the people around. As things unfold in the school courtyard, a student raises a staff, bragging that he managed to awaken his abilities. The loudspeaker announces that Wang Qiang successfully completed the ceremony and became a 3-star enchanter. Our MC, watching everything, notices that the crowd's luck isn't all that great. Feeling a strange sense of nostalgia, our boy starts to realize this place is very familiar. And it finally clicks, and he realizes he's gone back in time to when he was just 18 years old. Looking at the chubby kid, Wang Qiang, he remembers that he really did become an enchanter in the past. Our MC starts to remember the exact moment each of his classmates is supposed to go up on stage, and a student named Li Sunyoung celebrates for having awakened the 2-star warrior class. But not all students have the same luck in awakening their abilities. As soon as Song Li awakens as a mage class, our boy confirms that everything is happening just like it used to. Smiling, our boy says a few words while processing what's going on. At that moment, he's certain that he truly, divinely, returned to the past. With the eyes of a hawk, our MC focuses his gaze on the stage where things are in total chaos. But our MC wonders if this chance given by the heavens is for him to get revenge for all the betrayal he suffered. Suddenly, the crowd is in shock because someone just awakened a secret combat class. In the center of a powerful energy, we see Zhang Tang showing off his legendary talent. The announcement then confirms that the traitor awakened as a demonic hammer warrior, hitting the 8-star level. Watching from afar, our boy remembers how that scumbag always thought he was hot stuff because of his pure blood family. The mood gets tense as Su Ming glares at his enemy with eyes full of rage, remembering everything. But a hand touches his back, interrupting his thoughts, saying they've been looking for him for a while. As soon as he feels the touch, our boy looks to the side to see who's coming up behind him. To his surprise, he comes face to face with a still young-looking Ji Yao. Our MC tries to hide his emotion while the girl asks if something's wrong. But in his mind, an image of his friend passing away in his arms appears. He snaps back to reality and lets out a smile. Announcing the next student, the old man calls Ji Yao's name while the MC watches from a distance. Walking toward the grand monument, the girl sees the huge sphere of energy glowing in front of her. As soon as she reaches out her hand to touch the light, a strange sensation runs through her body. Realizing the strength of the awakening, she's amazed by the intense glow around her. Out of nowhere, a super bright light shoots toward the structure, signaling a rare talent. The glow gets even stronger, confirming the girl has obtained a mega, rare ability. It's revealed that she has become a 7-star necromancer, leaving everyone in shock. The crowd starts talking about the school having 2 geniuses, and our boy just watches calmly. Then our MC cracks a smile, because he already knows what's gonna happen in that ceremony. Finally, they call Su Ming's name, and people start cracking jokes, saying he's a no-future orphan. In this world dominated by the awakened, the Dragon Kingdom has become the center of all this mystical power. Ever since the Day of Awakening arrived hundreds of years ago, humans have had to learn to deal with this new reality, mainly because these people completely changed the planet, building gigantic cities. So, every young person who turns 18 gets a chance to change their life and become a warrior. But this glory comes with a pretty high price, since they have to face terrifying creatures. And we find our MC standing in front of a portal. Looking at the portal, our boy reaches his arm in to grab an item from inside, pulling out a super OP sword, and our MC has 9-star potential and a legendary level class, earning the title of God of Slaughter. At this moment, the old guy is speechless because he's never seen anything like this before. Meanwhile, the students start to wonder if a 9-star genius is being born, and our MC raises his arm toward the light. But, feeling a vibration from the runes again, our boy focuses to receive his new power. Out of nowhere, a golden glow explodes from his chest, and he recognizes the divine ring. Confused, our boy notices that the divine item managed to travel through time with him, and then a very suspicious screen appears. The system confirms a successful awakening and announces that Su Ming now possesses the mythical sword god class. The MC is frozen by all this and a bizarre energy takes over the skies. The teacher up on the stage is floored because he's never seen anything this powerful. But the students start to comment that this level of brightness can only come from a legendary combat class. Zhang Tang is filled with pure envy and can't accept being outdone by some random orphan. During all this, our boy just stands there while the energy intensely circulates through his body. Now the little screen asks our MC to identify himself. A bit scared, our boy places his finger on the golden screen for the system to perform a full user identification. As soon as the scan is complete, the tech panel recognizes Su Ming's name and validates the new data. We also see the icon for the new class glowing on the screen, showing he's now the new Blade Master. But he ends up gaining the golden talent of sublimation. Looking at the screen, our MC can't believe it and realizes this power level is way higher than what he had in his past life. Then our boy lets out a smile because he knows the tables have now completely turned in his favor. To test his power, the kid raises his hand to open his skill interface for the first time. He gets bummed out when he looks at the panel and sees that the proficiency level is at exactly 0%. The MC is stunned, and a drop of sweat rolls down as he stares at that empty space on the screen, and he starts to wonder what kind of joke the system is playing on him. Meanwhile, the crowd starts to find the delay weird and wants to know if the boy is finally done. Su-ming gets pretty desperate because he doesn't have a single skill. The panel starts to glow in a different way and begins to recognize the sacred ring. As soon as he realizes what's happening, our boy is surprised to see the divine item connecting with the little screen. The ring is identified by the system and releases an absurd amount of energy that makes the ground shake. Standing before that giant screen, our boy senses that something is about to happen now. Out of nowhere, a giant pillar of light appears, piercing the sky. The old man nearly falls over from the force and wonders what's going on. And he wonders why a colorful star with the number 10 appeared in the sky, indicating that our boy's talent has surpassed his past life. And our boy reappears, leaving the crowd completely shocked. And they start saying that the MC is a true monster for reaching this level of power. Jiang Tang is terrified and refuses to accept that the guy he used to clown on is now way stronger than him. With the microphone in hand, the teacher shouts that this year is historic. Finally, the man says that even though it's a swordsman class, Su-ming's level is infinite. Su-ming walks away from the monument with the students staring at him, and the crowd starts to comment, saying that the Blade Master class is trash for swordsmen. They explain that this class tries to do everything, but ends up being a jack of all trades, master of none in almost any type of attack. And our MC gets ticked off by that comment, but he listens in silence and realizes that in the eyes of those jerks, he's nothing but trash now. Suddenly, Jiao runs toward our boy. She congratulates our MC and shows that she's happy with his result. The girl tells him people are just talking nonsense and assures him that with his abilities, he'll overcome everything. Su-ming thanks her and confesses that he couldn't care less about the other students. In fact, he thinks this negative reaction from everyone is exactly what he had planned. The announcer interrupts our MC's thoughts and calls the next student up. At this, a pretty girl with red hair appears among the students. It's Ren Xiaoman walking confidently toward the monument, with Jiang Tang wishing her good luck, and our MC turns his back to get out of there. But Ji Yao asks if he doesn't want to see the finale, but he says he has zero interest. Our boy remembers how that traitor deceived him. She showed no mercy in the end. Meanwhile, Ren Xiaoman walks on, being fawned over by all the students at the ceremony. Feeling amazing, the girl lets out a smile like she knows she's the center of attention. Walking through the city streets, the MC decides to skip the school ceremony. Looking at the city, our boy notices that things look the same, but he feels that everything has changed now. Out of the blue, the little screen shows another ability, total concealment, to hide all his real stats from anyone. Staring intently, our boy understands that this ability is perfect for him to operate from the shadows. This legendary ability allows him to change any information about his class or his power level. The ring appears floating and starts to glow with great force in front of the boy. Super surprised, our MC can't believe the ring is releasing so much power. The system loads, integrating the sacred ring directly into the MC's stats to make him stronger. Incredibly, our MC gets from the system that he's gained several powerful skills from his old combat class. Speechless, our boy notices that he now has the power of the sword god combined with the old god of slaughter. Finally, the status screen is complete and shows that our MC is totally broken. Our boy thinks to himself that being a genius without strength is a dangerous thing. Our MC decides he needs to hide his true class so no one suspects his real power level. He knows this new chance is one of a kind, so he must seize this opportunity. Our MC stops walking and thinks about the next steps for his revenge. As things unfold, he remembers the beginner dungeon portal will soon open for all the school's students. But our boy knows this basic dungeon won't give him the level he needs to get truly OP. And our MC's real goal now is to find and defeat the most broken boss that exists. Before that, our boy realizes he needs to get a strong weapon so he doesn't have a hard time. Meanwhile, we see a giant building where our MC is heading. Somewhere else, Ren Xiaoman shows up, making out with Jiang Tang. The girl talks to Jiang Tang about Su-ming and mentions that his 10-star ability could be very useful for them. The villain hears this and agrees they need to keep our boy close. We see Jiang Tang looking at his phone. The girl says she'll use her charm to lure our MC in. we see the giant building our MC went into. Inside on the 12th floor, our MC enters a wholesale shop for very expensive weapons. As soon as he gets there, an attendant greets him, and he sees the store is full of high-tech stuff. And our MC sees several students walking around, checking out weapons for tomorrow's challenge. Watching the crowd, our boy hears people complaining that the weapons cost an arm and a leg. In the center of the store, there's the famous Frosty Sky sword, selling for $1 million. Smirking, our MC remembers that in his past life, this weapon was a fake. Out of nowhere, a beautiful woman approaches and asks if he's the famous student, Su Ming. Handing him her business card, she says her name is Jiang Lan, and she leads a major financial group. Suspicious, our boy says he doesn't know the lady, but he takes the business card. But she informs him that her group will cover any costs he has in that store today. In exchange for all this investment, the woman says she needs a favor from him. With great curiosity, our MC asks what kind of help such an influential person could want from a mere student. Then, she shows a photo of a girl to our boy, and she says that the girl in the photo is her sister. Jiang Lan asks our boy to protect her sister in the beginner dungeon. Our boy looks directly at the businesswoman and doesn't like the offer one bit. Without a second thought, Su Ming refuses the request, leaving the woman in disbelief. Holding up a finger, our MC asks if she really thought money could buy his loyalty. Our MC points his finger right at the fake $1 million sword and warns that if she wants the favor, she'll have to pay the price. That $1 million weapon he already knew was fake, but it's perfect for testing the woman's will. Jiang Lan is shocked by the boy's audacity and asks if he really thinks he's worthy of an SS rank item. Turning his back, Su Ming throws it in her face that she was the one who said he could choose anything. Our boy gives her a tip to focus on her sister's training, since money can't solve every problem in a dungeon. Jiang Lan lets out an ironic laugh, finding the boy very interesting, and decides to back off for now. Meanwhile, onlookers comment that the kid is crazy for standing up to such a powerful agent, and his phone starts to buzz. Taking out his phone, our boy sees he has a new notification and gets curious about who's contacting him. As soon as he opens the messages, he sees the name is Ren Xiamen. Reading the message, our MC sees that the girl wants to meet him on the school rooftop tonight. With a look of anger, Su Ming remembers how in his past life, he was an idiot who chased after her. Our MC confirms that he'll show up to the meeting. Right after turning down the offer, our MC walks up to the counter to talk to one of the saleswomen, and he asks if those unrefined stones can really yield high-quality weapons. But the woman warns that the chance of getting something good is low. The hero says that's exactly what he's looking for. However, the saleswoman is taken aback by the MC's confidence, and he thinks to himself that buying a silver rank weapon directly is too expensive, and it's better to try his luck. His secret is that he has a special skill called Eye of Perception. It's a rare ability that lets him see all the real data and information of any object or material. Picking a stone, the MC smiles because he knows that spending only 50 coins will turn a huge profit. Suddenly, some kids show up, making fun of our boy for picking up a rock, and they keep saying that the rock is total junk. Looking at the rich kid, our boy remembers how this guy is a snob who loved to mess with him in the past. And out of nowhere, our MC challenges the spoiled kid, saying he's gonna get something rare from the stone. As soon as they hear this, the two spoiled kids are speechless. Then they laugh at the MC and accept the challenge. And the spoiled brat even says there's like a 0% chance of getting something rare from the rock. But our MC already knows what's coming. Suddenly, the system appears, and our boy tells the spoiled kids not to run off. Activating his Eye of Perception, our guy focuses all his attention on the raw stone and manages to see a legendary sword. Using his strength, he makes the stone explode into 1,000 pieces, releasing an intense light. And the spoiled kids can't believe he got a rare sword. Holding the sword, our boy feels the weight of a real weapon. The crowd around the MC is shocked by the scene. Looking at the stats, the system confirms it's a black iron sword with a super broken healing ability. Our boy looks at the blade and thinks this piece of gear is perfect to use at the meeting. Yang Ding is outraged by our MC's luck. On top of that, our MC analyzes the black iron sword again and sees a life drain ability. Yang Ding starts to sweat and stares at the tip of the blade. With a little smirk, our boy announces that it's time to pay up what they owe him, the 5,000 coins. As soon as the spoiled kid pays his debt to the MC, he says he'll get his revenge, and the saleswoman can't believe what our boy just did. Right after, our boy decides to use all the money he won to buy a luxurious sheath. The system notifies him that he's acquired a silver rank item, which cuts the weapon's wear and tear in half during fights. Holding the complete set, our MC feels relieved to have gotten his weapon. Out of nowhere, a system warning about a hidden function pops up to materialize the weapon, but our boy prefers to leave it disabled. Looking directly at it, the boy plans to use his secret ability to increase the power level of that blade. Meanwhile, life in the city goes on as usual with people playing basketball. And we see our MC reflecting that even though he has no active skills from his mythical class, he still has his primordial talent, which is what really makes a difference. And the system says that the sublimation technique allows him to improve the quality of any item or piece of equipment he finds along the way. Activating this power, a bizarre red energy starts to envelop the metal, and he feels his power increase. The weapon transforms into a bloodthirsty sword that not only heals the MC but also boosts all his stats after each kill. Our MC is satisfied because now, with these stat buffs, the dungeon is going to be easy. Time passes, and we see that night has fallen. Our boy gets ready on top of the building with his sword. As things unfold, Ren Xiaoman is already waiting for our MC on the rooftop, looking out at the city. As soon as she notices our boy's arrival, the traitor cracks a smile. But the mood changes real fast when she glances back and feels a chill run down her spine. Suddenly, a blade slashes through the air. Ren Xiaoman lets out a scream that echoes throughout the whole building. Shaking with fear, she asks what's gotten into our MC. With a cold stare, our MC says he came here to get his revenge. He still perfectly remembers the traumatic moment from his past life. The girl is totally confused and starts yelling that she accepted his request to be his girlfriend. She shows the messages on her phone, where it showed our boy begging for a chance to be with her in the past. Our boy gives a little smile. Then, he remembers that she was always the prettiest girl in school, while he was just an orphan. Our MC was resting in the classroom right after the awakening. And suddenly, Ren Xiaoman would come over, all sweet, and ask if he was feeling sick. He remembers receiving all that affection he had always dreamed of. The text message also appears with the love confession he sent, believing he would have a happy future with her. He remembers that all that closeness was purely for her own gain, and he gets beyond mad. Right after that, he remembers her betrayal with Zhang Tang. With a heart full of rage, he screams with all his might, declaring that that entire good phase of his life was built on a lie. Our MC throws it in her face that he's already figured out all her dirty plans. The girl is left completely speechless. But our boy continues and warns that she knows full well he's absolutely right, because that mask of a perfect and generous girl she wears doesn't fool anyone anymore. She grinds her teeth in anger when she realizes her manipulation has gone down the drain. To get to him, she starts screaming that he's just a worthless orphan. But our MC just turns to leave, while she yells that Zhang Tang is going to finish him. Our MC lets out a mocking laugh and warns her that she should be more worried about her own image. Ren Xiaoman, possessed by rage, feels humiliated by a piece of trash like him, and she grabs her sword to try and take out our MC. Leaping at him with everything she's got, she tries for a fatal blow, but our boy just stands still. Unexpectedly, a sinister red energy starts to circle the sword. The system confirms that his sword's blood drain ability has been successfully activated. A charge of dark power explodes on the rooftop and starts to slice through the wind, and it shows the spoiled brat's life force being siphoned away to power up our MC. Powerless, the loser falls to the ground. Looking down at her, our MC warns that she reaped exactly what she sowed. Still on the ground and totally wrecked, the girl cries with rage. Remembering his past with Ren Xiaoman, he loses the will to get revenge on her. His sword begins to glow blue. His sword shatters into fragments, and our MC starts to walk away. But before he goes, he tells her to let her little boyfriend know to come and get him if he really has the guts. Our MC leaves her all alone. Out of nowhere, the system pops up, and our MC receives a special gift from Principal Wong, who sent a strengthening pill, an adventurer's outfit, and 10,000 coins. As the sun starts to rise, our MC is already up, holding the strengthening pill the principal gave him. Swallowing it in one go, our MC complains about the pill's taste, but he thanks the principal for the help. Immediately, the system announces that his level has gone up, and he even got 10 extra points to use however he wants. On the status screen, it reveals the new ability, Original Sword Body, which also lets the MC learn any technique. Walking toward the school, our boy feels a lot more confident. Looking at the horizon, our boy says that today he's going to show his full power in the beginner's dungeon. We then see the main entrance of the academy where a crowd of students is gathered, just like every year for the challenge. As the students cram into the courtyard, the buzz of conversations makes the atmosphere super lively around the massive portal. Glancing sideways with a bored look, our MC realizes that no one there has any idea of the level of strength he's really packing. Suddenly, 3 guys show up asking to join his team, as they're eyeing his 10-star talent and the items from the principal. Knowing they're just users, our boy turns the guys down on the spot, lying and saying his party is already full. Running toward him in a panic, Ji Yao asks if it's true that he already has a team. She clearly wasn't expecting this news. Ji Yao then claims she rushed over as fast as she could just to make sure she'd be the first one to fight by our boy's side. Worried about the danger of the mission, our MC thinks that his goal is way too risky and doesn't want his friend to get hurt. Finally, our boy quietly admits he plans to face it all alone, but suddenly, someone approaches to talk to him. A blue-haired guy named Yanzi introduces himself as a 9-star demon hunter and invites the hero to his group. On top of that, our MC remembers this guy was also a powerful awakened in his past life, but he politely declines the invitation. Ji Yao steps up and tells everyone that our boy is already on her team and asks everyone else to stop bothering him. We also see our MC thinking about how his friend is such a firm and reliable person for backing him up like that. As he looks at the old clock on the post, our boy realizes the exact moment for the dungeon's opening has finally arrived. Suddenly, the official announcement for the start of challenge number 127 appears in the air, and the portal begins to glow. On the big screen, Principal Wang apologizes for being at home, explaining that he overslept and was running late today. He explains that this one-day journey is a mandatory rite of passage for all the new awakened at the school. As soon as the students cross the entrance, the system will automatically identify each one and log all the necessary information for the test. Furthermore, the master warns that the final rewards depend entirely on each warrior's level of contribution during the intense fights. But he emphasizes that forming groups is the best strategy so no one ends up getting seriously hurt by the creatures in that bizarre place. Ji Yao agrees with the rules, but she gets a huge shock when she realizes our boy is no longer by her side. The principal yells that it's time to start and orders all students to enter the portal right away so they don't waste precious time. The crowd is shocked when they notice our MC was the first one to jump ahead of everyone, without waiting for anybody. As he passes through the light, our boy feels a strange sense of nostalgia, remembering how in his past life he was terrified of this place full of dangerous monsters and secret challenges. Our boy focuses his gaze and decides that in this life, he'll choose the hardest challenge of all, defeating the final hidden boss. Right after, we see that he's ended up in the Raging Tide Forest, which is a rank F place full of dangers hidden in the woods. Looking at the scenery, our MC realizes that the layout of the beginner dungeons changes randomly every year. On top of that, our boy notices that this location is completely different from the one he faced in his past life, and that changes everything. The system explains that the spawn points inside the portal are random, so everyone needs to plan their own route. With a serious look, the guy understands that the monsters he'll encounter here won't be the same as before, either. Suddenly, our boy comes face to face with a giant tree that is an elite monster capable of burning anyone caught in its branches. With the goal of only fighting the secret boss, our MC decides the best move now is to avoid these annoying mobs and save his energy. Activating his tech panel, our boy starts mapping out a path to find the items needed for his real challenge. However, he knows that if too many students enter at the same time, it'll be way too hard to collect all the necessary items for his mission. Leaping with agility, our boy starts his run because he needs to take advantage of being alone to clear the route and reach his objective quickly. As the clock strikes 7:30 in the morning, Ji Yao appears at the portal and looks around, trying to spot the hero in the middle of the woods. We also see other students commenting that the place seems pretty empty and quiet, which gives them a false sense of security. Suddenly, the girl feels something strange and warns her companions to stay sharp, as she noticed some weird movement coming from the bushes. Finally, a mysterious figure appears running in the distance, and all the students go on high alert to figure out who that fast person is. Screaming for help, a student runs desperately as the ground trembles with the arrival of something terrible. On top of that, the other guys around totally panic and realize the situation has gotten out of control. We also see a horde of giant, bloodthirsty rats charging full speed at the beginners. The system then issues a real-time report confirming that 3 challengers have just lost their lives. Ji Yao is in shock as she reads the news and notices that even strong warriors were taken down quickly. Meanwhile, another student flees out of breath through the forest, trying to find a safe place to hide. However, she realizes with despair that she got separated from her group and is all alone in the woods. Watching the movement, some camouflaged monsters keep an eye on the girl as she tries to figure out where to run. Despite this, the young woman feels a chill down her spine because the silence indicates a predator is nearby. Suddenly, a gigantic shadow covers her body, and fear takes over her entire being. A monstrous ape with red eyes emerges from the trees, making it clear it will show no mercy. Like a hungry monster, the creature prepares to attack while the student closes her eyes. The girl then begs for help one last time, believing no one could reach her in time. Unexpectedly, a flaming blade cuts through the sky with absurd speed and hits the enemy dead on. Finally, our MC shows up, wrecking the opponent with a powerful blow and saving his classmate's life. The boy is thrown to the ground, completely terrified, feeling like his end is coming in this bizarre dungeon. On top of that, a level 5 elite bear with enormous claws appears and attacks the poor guy, who has no chance of defending himself. Our boy hasn't arrived at the scene yet, but the mood gets heavy as the student screams in terror upon being hit by the beast. Meanwhile, several level 2 swamp hunters surround other groups, showing that the monsters are working in packs. We also see a level 3 hunting dog pouncing on another student, who panics completely as he sees his end up close, because right after, the system warns that teleport point 9 is surrounded, and the guy calls for backup on the radio. However, a giant dragon-like lizard at level 5 emerges to strike even more terror into the hearts of the students. What's more, the monsters keep coming non-stop from the 11 o'clock direction, leaving all the beginners surrounded with no way out. A girl looks at her tech interface and realizes that her 5-person team is being massacred by the enemies. Unfortunately, she sees that almost all her teammates have been defeated, and despair takes over in the middle of the fight. But the young woman only managed to hide because her friends sacrificed themselves to give her a chance to escape into the thicket. However, it's only been half an hour since the challenge started, and the student realizes the difficulty is insane for mere newbies. That's why she wonders if any of the new awakened will get out of this cursed place full of real dangers alive. Suddenly, our MC appears like a flash and demolishes the nearby creature with a single sword strike. In the end, the girl's jaw drops at such strength, and she thanks our boy, recognizing him as the 10-star genius. Su-Ming stands there with an air of mystery while the rescued girl asks if he's really the 10-star genius. Responding with total coldness, our MC states he was just passing by but warns that there won't be a second time. On top of that, he reveals that the monster hasn't truly been defeated yet, and the young woman's eyes go wide with fear. Running as fast as she can, the student yells that she's going to get help and asks our boy to hang in there. Activating his eye of perception, the hero begins a deep analysis to uncover all the secrets of that bizarre creature. The system quickly confirms the stats of the mutant ape king, which is level 3 and has very high strength attributes. Our MC understands that because it's a mutant creature, it managed to survive the slashes from his silver rank weapon. However, our boy notices that common monsters from this level F map shouldn't be this tough. Suddenly, the beast lunges toward the hero with everything it's got, attempting a brutal smash that would turn anyone into paste. Very calmly, our boy just watches the enemy's movement as he prepares to counterattack with style. Showing a confident look, the guy decides it's time to test one of his new legendary combat techniques. Because our MC wants to feel the weight of this divine power and challenges the giant ape to a duel of speed. We also see on the screen confirmation that he inherited several secret abilities from his former God of Slaughter class. Thus, the Hidden God's Step is revealed as his third technique, and the system shows that the hero now has an ace up his sleeve. Finally, the description explains that this power increases speed by 50% and grants immunity to any physical or magical damage. Activating the Hidden God's Step, our boy gets a crazy speed boost and vanishes from the monster's sight in the blink of an eye. While the beast is lost, our boy reappears right behind the enemy and declares that the game is over for the giant ape. On top of that, the beast tries to react however it can, but Su-Ming's agility is on another level, and he just toys with the opponent's slowness. With a bored expression, our MC comments that the fight has lost its fun because the mutant monster can't even touch him. However, the hero's reflection in the creature's eyes shows that its fate has already been sealed by a true blade master. Right after, our boy launches a fatal attack with his blade, stating he's done playing with his opponent. The system then confirms the absolute victory and shows that the mutant ape king was easily defeated by our hero. We also see a reward appearing in the air, which is a bronze rank skill scroll called One Line Cut. Furthermore, Su-Ming analyzes the item and thinks that even though it's a low rank, this technique will be a big help on this starter map. Suddenly, a golden alert shines in the sky, announcing to all players that the first blood of the dungeon has been drawn. As the screen displays the details, everyone notices that a level 2 player scored the first kill and earned a rare title. The news spreads through the forest, leaving all the other students speechless, as no one expected such a feat so quickly. On top of that, all participants receive a free healing potion as a bonus for the achievement, and one girl celebrates having her health restored. However, the crowd starts to gossip, asking if the person behind this feat was Su-Ming, and our boy realizes he miscalculated. Finally, our boy realizes that 30 minutes have passed and no one else has killed anything, so he decides to use total concealment to vanish into the shadows. Su-Ming continues walking through the dense forest, but soon realizes he's no longer alone in the gloomy scenery. On top of that, a pack of hungry level 3 wolves emerges from the shadows, their eyes glowing with pure malice. However, our boy shows no fear and thinks this is the perfect time to test his new attack. So, our MC once again activates the sublimation of all things talent to upgrade the scroll. That simple bronze rank technique begins to glow intensely as it undergoes a bizarre and very powerful transformation. The system then confirms that the skill has evolved to silver rank, becoming a deadly sword draw cut. As the beasts prepare to make their final pounce, our boy just takes a deep breath and waits for the right moment. Finally, the hero makes a swift movement and unleashes a gigantic arc of blue energy that slices through everything in its path. The MC unleashes a blast of blue energy that slices through the first monster while the system announces he gained 80 experience points. On top of that, the carnage continues as he eliminates 10 beasts at once, securing another 800 points for his account. Tallying up each kill, the system shows that 100 wolves have already bitten the dust, and our boy cashes in on a whopping 8,000 experience points. As the clock strikes 9:30 in the morning, our MC relaxes a bit while holding his weapon, covered in the blood of the fallen enemies. With a smirk, the system confirms that the hero has reached level 9 and has also unlocked the legendary title of Wolf Slayer. Looking at the battlefield filled with bodies, our boy comments that using the quick draw technique is the easiest way to clear the map. Gripping the hilt of his sword firmly, he prepares for another round of powerful attacks against the hungry pack. Focusing entirely on his objective, the guy starts to build up a bizarre energy to lock onto the next targets nearby. Fixing his gaze with determination, our MC decides it's time to unleash all that accumulated power in a single move. Moving the blade with absurd speed, he executes a slash that glows intensely with a bluish hue. Creating a gigantic shockwave, the attack sweeps through everything in front of it, sending the monsters flying without an ounce of mercy. Hitting the opponent's head on, the force of the impact is so great that the creatures can't even understand what hit them. However, the mood changes quickly when our boy notices a strange movement coming from the middle of the smoke. Suddenly, a massive explosion happens in the middle of the forest, revealing that the real big boss has finally decided to show up. Facing the danger head on, the level 10 wolf appears with glowing red eyes and promises to give our boy a real hard time. As the clock strikes 8:30 in the morning, it marks the beginning of a new phase for the other students who are trying to get by in the dungeon. We see a handshake sealing a partnership, and the system confirms that the group formation among the newbies was a total success. Excited by the chance of victory, the young people spring into action, yelling for everyone to hurry up and keep pace with the group. Kicking off the counterattack, the crew charges at the monsters because the main force has finally arrived to clean up the mess. Meanwhile, one of the guys grips the hilt of his sword tightly, showing he's ready to fight for his life in this place. Landing a direct hit, the blue-haired student strikes a giant green creature, making the beast feel the weight of his steel. Despite the danger, the young man continues the cutting motion and manages to break through the monster's defense, which roars in pain from the impact. Surprised by the result, the students see the experience points rising on the screen and are jaw-dropped by the reward received. On top of that, the system confirms the death of a mutant rat, and the guys celebrate, saying they won't lose to the MC who got the first kill. Crying with joy, the blue-haired guy finally reaches level 2 and feels that all the effort has been worth it so far. However, a new alert appears in the sky and leaves everyone in shock, announcing that another boss monster has just been defeated. The news reveals that some level 9 fishermen got the kill on a leader, leaving the crowd wondering how such a simple class could be so strong. Flashing back 10 minutes, the scene changes completely, and we see a blue trail cutting through the darkness of the dense woods. Suddenly, our MC unleashes that powerful technique we saw and hits the giant wolf with surgical precision. Finally, the beast's health bar plummets violently as our boy's strike shows who the real master of this cursed place is. Our MC unleashes a devastating slash that goes right through the mutant beast's chest, sending blood flying everywhere. With an explosive step, our boy shatters the ground beneath his feet as he prepares to finish the job in style. Leaping high into the air, our boy tells the wolf not to get cocky just because it's a leader, because the beast's arrogance will cost it dearly. Flashing a confident smile, Su Ming looks his opponent in the eyes and reveals that the beast's fate has already been sealed. A gigantic blade of light then falls from the sky, splitting the monster in half and ending this frantic fight once and for all. The system then confirms the Wolf King has bitten the dust, and our MC reaches level 10, earning several rare items as a reward. Meanwhile, in another part of the forest, the blondie Yang Ding appears all beat up and dirty after facing some common monsters. Out of breath, his teammates look at the defeated wolves and comment that exhaustion is hitting them hard. On top of that, one of the guys is thankful they got an attack bonus item, because without it, the team would have been massacred. However, Yang Ding gets furious when he sees the announcements in the sky and wonders how a simple fisherman can be so OP. Looking at his completely chipped weapon on the ground, the guy realizes his starter gear is total trash. Annoyed, the blondie starts complaining that he got scammed at the weapon shop and that's why he can't show his true power. Yelling at everyone, he tells the group to shut up and reminds them that he's the one tanking all the damage up front. Suddenly, he remembers the image of Su Ming and feels a bizarre envy for the success our boy is having. Finally, Yangding swears that if he runs into our boy in there, he'll finish him off to vent all his pent-up anger. Our MC crouches in the bushes while watching the golden screen confirm that he has finally hit level 10. On top of that, the system announces that he has unlocked the first class, Change Mission, and the guy understands that a golden opportunity has appeared. He remembers that in his past life, he only managed to reach this level after he had already left the newbie's starter dungeon. Back then, the mission was E rank, and he had to train up to level 15 just to be able to handle it. However, this new life is a different story because our boy managed to reach level 10 while still inside the training map. The system then reveals that the new objective is to hunt the Guardian of the Red Rock Cave, which is a pretty strong elite monster. Excited by the news, our MC realizes the mission dropped right where he is, and that will make his journey much easier. Finally, the hero gains the Platinum Rank Sword Master ability, which allows him to equip any heavy weapon, ignoring level requirements. Everything shifts to the First Academy's meeting room, where the tension is rising among the directors. Meanwhile, the performance data is displayed on the screen, but our MC's name doesn't appear among the top rankings. The principal is left scratching his head, not understanding how a 10-star talent like Su Ming has vanished from the top 500. On top of that, he mentions he even gave the boy a starter item pack and expected the kid to be dominating everything. Suddenly, the room's door is thrown open violently, interrupting the conversation and putting everyone on high alert. The deputy mayor and Ranling storms in, furiously demanding to know why the school's star pupil isn't delivering the expected results. Showing the reports, she complains that she was told about an incredible genius, but the stats show a very different reality. However, the principal tries to calm things down, explaining that our boy's class usually has a much slower start than the others. Annoyed, the woman retorts that this doesn't justify such a low performance and suspects the old man is lying to earn tokens. What's more, she highlights the success of other students like Yan Zi and Zhang Tang, who are climbing the ranks with ease. Because of this, the official decides to reduce the academy's medal quota to just 2, leaving the principal utterly desperate. Even though he tries to negotiate, the deputy mayor warns that the school has been at the bottom for a long time and could be banned from the next tournament. Leaving the room in a hurry, she leaves the master alone with the loss and the pressure to restore the institution's prestige. Looking at the few remaining seals, the principal whispers Su Ming's name and hopes that our boy won't let him down. Finally, our boy appears crouched at the entrance of the Red Rock Cave, preparing to face the great challenge of the class, Change Mission. Our MC looks at the virtual map and confirms he's arrived at the exact mission point, thankful that he didn't run into any annoying mobs on the way. On top of that, he enters the dark cave, commenting that he's never been here in his past life, and gets curious about what kind of creature will jump out of the shadows. Still, the mood gets tense because our boy notices a strange movement and hardens his expression, preparing for whatever comes next. Because suddenly, a giant club smashes the ground with full force, kicking up dust and showing that the reception here won't be friendly at all. Right after, a level 6 mining goblin with bluish skin and red eyes glowing with pure malice appears, facing the hero. We also see our MC analyzing the creature up close, wondering if that thing is really an earth spirit or just a ugly goblin. But our boy doesn't waste any time and makes a quick move with his feet to gain momentum and go for the kill without giving it a chance to react. The hero then unleashes a precise cut that hits the monster dead on, while the screen flashes danger warnings due to the violence of the blow. However, our boy leaps into the air and thinks he needs to be quick because he can't let all this noise alert the rest of the cave. Nevertheless, the system glows in the air, warning that the cave's consciousness has been awakened, and now Goblin Mode has been fully activated. Despite this, several heavy footsteps begin to echo down the corridor, showing that the first creature was just the beginning of a big problem. In other words, our MC realizes the situation has gotten complicated and comments that things don't seem as simple as he imagined. Therefore, a gigantic horde of monsters appears out of nowhere, and the system confirms that all the goblins in the place will now hunt our boy relentlessly. The face of a bizarre monster then appears on the screen, while the description explains that this strange mode makes the creatures act with insane aggression. Finally, our boy sees dozens of enemies running toward him and prepares for a real war inside that cursed dungeon. Initially, our boy notices that the creature's level isn't high, but he's impressed by the absurd number of monsters surrounding the area. On top of that, the MC looks at his blade with concern, wondering if the equipment's durability will hold up against so many enemies at once. Feeling a sudden danger, our boy's eyes go wide, because he realizes something much bigger is stealthily approaching from behind him. From the shadows emerges a giant goblin with glowing red eyes that proves to be the true nightmare of this cave, striking fear into anyone. As the giant monster unleashes a massive club strike, our boy needs to act fast to avoid being squashed like a bug by that brute force. Several strategically positioned archers also appear and start firing arrows at the hero to prevent any escape or counterattack attempts. Quickly, our MC uses his sword skills to parry the attacks and comments that these creatures are a lot smarter than they look. Leaping to dodge, our boy notices that the enemies waited for him to be airborne to attack, as they know it's very difficult to change position without support. However, two smaller goblins seize the opportunity and jump in with sharp knives, trying to break through the guy's defense, who is completely surrounded in the middle of the chaos. With a precise spinning move, our boy cuts through the air and pushes back the attackers while trying to stay calm to avoid making any dumb mistakes. Even though he wants to use his secret techniques, our MC realizes his mana is very low and he won't be able to maintain the hidden god step for long. What's more, the situation only gets worse because the system confirms he's facing an entire group led by an extremely dangerous elite goblin. Honestly, our boy admits that facing all these monsters head-on with the few skills he has now is going to be a nightmare-level challenge. Moving his feet with agility, our boy decides he needs to be more flexible in combat and starts looking for a way to use the environment to his advantage. Finally, our MC executes a perfect dodge maneuver and states that he'll first get out of the attack's range to plan his next deadly move. Su-Ming feels the whoosh of arrows grazing past him and pulls off an evasive maneuver to escape the archer's coordinated attack. On top of that, our MC manages to hide behind a stone pillar to assess the situation, but he notices the enemies are spreading out to surround him completely. But instead of getting scared, our boy just gives a mocking smile and invites the creatures to have some fun, treating all that danger as if it were child's play. Screaming with all their might, the horde of monsters charges at Su-Ming, thinking they'll win through sheer numbers. On top of that, our boy unleashes a blast of blue energy and states that he's going to give the enemies a special present. The blades quickly slice through the air while the system displays several warnings due to the force of the combat. Tearing apart every creature that crosses his path, our boy shows that the pack is no match for his talent. Standing in a strategic position, the hero realizes that maintaining the terrain advantage is the key to victory. Seizing the opening, our MC uses the quick draw cut to finish off the survivors in one move. Walking calmly among the bodies, the guy starts to retreat as the dust settles in the cave. Looking over his shoulder, our boy comments that without even realizing it, he ended up clearing the whole place by himself. Confirming the leader's demise, the elite goblin's health bar hits 0, and the system validates the achievement. Hiding in the thicket, someone watches the dungeon entrance, dying of curiosity. His eyes widening, the bald student is shocked when he realizes something heavy went down in there. Because right after, he points to the dark hole and tells his friends he heard an insane fight. Dotting the story, the blondie, Yang Ding, claims it's impossible for anyone to be in there because of the high level of the beasts. However, the blondie's eyes go wide as he feels a strange energy and realizes that maybe his friend is right. Finally, the group goes on high alert because they notice someone is about to emerge from that total darkness. Yang Ding and his sidekick lie in wait at the dungeon's exit, wondering who would have the guts to face the monsters in there. On top of that, the blondie's eyes widen as he senses a familiar presence and lets out a gasp of surprise as he sees the figure approaching. Walking calmly, our MC emerges from the darkness of the cave and realizes that fate has played a trick on him by putting his rivals right in his path. The system then shows that Su-Ming has already reached level 11, and Yang Ding gets furious upon recognizing the guy who won their bet a while back. Fixing his gaze with total contempt, our boy shows no concern about the ambush because he knows he's on another level. However, the attackers try to intimidate the guy, but our boy just ignores their presence, continuing on his way peacefully. Moving with absurd speed, the hero zips past the bullies like a streak of light, leaving all his opponents looking like fools. Annoyed by the dodge, the blondie yells for his gang to surround the hero immediately, warning that he's not letting the kid get away this time. Turning his head slightly, our M states he has no intention of running and reminds them that their group has already been embarrassed before. Meanwhile, Yang Ding is all flustered by the guy's audacity, and his friend realizes that our boy doesn't even remember who they are anymore. Fuming with rage for being forgotten, the villain mentions the 5,000 coins he lost and orders everyone to attack at the same time. Flashing a sarcastic smile, our MC watches the enemy's movements and decides this is the perfect opportunity to test his new power. Channeling a bizarre energy into the palm of his hand, the hero prepares to execute a legendary technique that promises to sweep away everything around. Suddenly, he unleashes the sword mastery attack, creating a destructive arc that illuminates the entire forest with a reddish color. Finally, the impact sends the attackers flying while their screams of terror echo through the scene, proving that messing with our boy was a fatal mistake. Our MC successfully finishes the attack while watching his opponents lie defeated on the ground. On top of that, the blondie Yang Ding is left stammering, unable to believe what he saw because he recognizes the legendary sword control technique. The villain is in shock as he realizes the hero has already mastered a skill that should only be learned by someone at a much higher level. However, our boy reveals that he used his sublimation talent to transform a simple scroll into a super broken, gold rank item. We also see our boy thinking that this ability will make everyone believe he's truly from the Blade Master class. As he walks through the wreckage, the guy celebrates because he got the location map for the cave's secret chest as a reward. The system then opens the tech interface and shows the exact coordinates of the final prize our MC so desperately wants to find. But suddenly, the hero looks surprised as he reads the information about the new destination that just appeared on his screen. However, the map indicates that there's a second part to the Red Rock Cave, hidden deep within the depths of that gloomy place. What's more, the mission's title talks about the life and business of monsters, leaving our boy very curious about the bizarre situation. As the clock strikes 11:30 in the morning, we see a big explosion of flames as a group of girls celebrates their victory against the forest beasts. The young women prove they can handle themselves and thank their level 7 leader for agreeing to lead the all-female squad. The students quickly start searching the enemies' bodies for valuable items, while one asks another if she's too tired from the fight. However, one of the girls looks doubtful as she notices the atmosphere around them has changed in a very strange way. Finally, the young woman looks around worriedly and asks her friends where the last member of the team went, as she vanished in the middle of the smoke. The girl gets a huge fright and lets out a scream as she realizes something bizarre is happening right before her eyes. On top of that, she looks around, totally confused, and wonders where the rest of the group disappeared to so quickly. The young woman is puzzled because the group was just dividing up the prizes a moment ago, and the area's mobs should be lying on the ground. However, she notices there's absolutely nothing left in the thicket, and the emptiness of the place starts to make the poor girl scared to death. Suddenly, the student's eyes go wide as she discovers a bizarre trail and screams in terror because she realizes things are getting out of control. Finally, we see the gloomy forest scenery as the mystery of the whereabouts of the monsters and her friends takes over the cursed environment. Reading the system's information, we see that the goblins of this world prefer to live in damp, dark places to set up treacherous ambushes. On top of that, the panel explains that these creatures have a bizarre birth rate and use any means necessary to rapidly expand their pack. Analyzing the data, our MC discovers that these monsters mature in record time, entering a never-ending cycle of reproduction and growth. The images detail how these beasts act cruelly in the total darkness of the forest. Running nonstop, our boy is outraged by the strange settings of this reality and wonders what kind of crazy world this is. The tech interface quickly confirms that he has finally reached the exact coordinates marked on the secret map. Looking around in the middle of the thicket, our boy is confused and wonders if this is really the right place for the mission. Finding only a dark and silent hole, the hero realizes the dungeon entrance isn't as obvious as he imagined. Scratching his head, the guy notices there are only trees everywhere and begins to suspect the system might have bugged out on the location. Staring seriously at the sky, our MC tries to analyze the situation calmly so as not to waste time searching in the wrong place. Suddenly, a strange smoke begins to rise from the ground, revealing that something is hidden right under his feet. Activating his keen perception, the hero picks up the movement of a rodent, which ends up being caught by a sinister red energy. Smiling maliciously, our boy understands the place's secret as his eye glows with the power of the newly activated special vision. Thinking about the name of the Red Rock Cave, he concludes that the legendary treasure isn't on the surface, but hidden in the depths. Finally, our boy stares into the flaming abyss and notices that the real entrance leads directly to a massive underground lair. Observing the smoke, the MC praises the creature's intelligence for using fire to hide the cave entrance. With a sharp gaze, our boy prepares to enter that hole and face whatever comes next. On top of that, we see the inside of the lair, full of flames and shadows where the creatures hide, waiting for the next victim. Hiding in the shadows, the guy realizes he can't just attack one monster without attracting the whole pack at once, because the system confirms that horde mode is active, and any noise will turn into a massive brawl in the dark. Focused on the main objective, our boy remembers that his only goal here is to get his hands on the valuable treasure from the map. Suddenly, he spots a student in trouble, being surrounded by those bizarre creatures in the middle of the dense smoke. Noticing the trap, the hero sees that the girl fell right into the monster's plan and is disgusted by their evil. But our MC stays completely cool and decides to watch the situation before making any rash or dangerous moves. As her screams for help echo through the cave, the girl pleads for someone to get her out of this terrifying mess. Analyzing it coldly, our boy thinks her presence could be the perfect distraction while he goes for the final prize. He figures he's under no obligation to save anyone and prefers to focus on his own journey for profit and power. Still, the guy criticizes the newbie's lack of prep, wandering into a dangerous place without enough strength. Changing his mind, our boy's eyes go wide when he hears the girl's family is super rich and can pay well. Finally, the goblins go in for the final attack, and the girl lets out a desperate scream as the beasts leap at her with everything they've got. A pillar of fire erupts in the middle of the lair as our MC's attack sends everything flying with insane force. Leaping with agility, our boy escapes the debris while watching the monsters get swallowed by the intense glow. Flashing a confident smile, our boy activates his blade master technique to finish the threat once and for all. Unleashing a devastating blow, the hero creates a shockwave that cracks the cavern floor and stuns the enemies. On top of that, the system reveals that the ability's glow is the goblins' fatal weakness since they hate bright light. Because all it takes is one precise move for our MC to push the beasts back without even getting his hands dirty this time. Standing in the middle of the smoke, the guy notices that Jiang Yunqing is exhausted and can barely stand. Looking back, our boy sees that the monsters have given up and confirms that the escape plan worked. Thanking him for his help, the young woman looks at the hero with admiration and says her name is Jiang Yunqing. However, our MC recognizes her face from a photo and realizes that fate has brought them together. Walking away, our boy says he was just passing by and doesn't want to get into any small talk. Even as the girl begs, the guy insists she'll just slow him down and tells the poor thing to fend for herself. Checking his interface, the hero refocuses on the treasure hunt, ignoring the screams of his new acquaintance. As soon as the map sensor glows, our MC realizes the golden prize is super close. Finally, the sound of footsteps on gravel indicates that something new is about to appear in front of our boy. Looking back, our boy confirms the monsters aren't following them anymore and lets out a shout of joy, announcing he's finally found the hideout. We also see a silver chest right in front of him, but our MC decides to use his sublimation talent to turn the prize into something way more valuable. Because as the magic energy takes over the area, Jiang Yunqing just watches, looking completely shocked by that strange power. Her eyes widening, the young woman is totally mesmerized by the intense light that reflects the success of the hero's transformation. Holding the item, our boy celebrates because the chest is now gold, rank, and holds the best possible rewards for this stage. A lottery interface also pops up in front of him, and the guy is on the edge of his seat, waiting to see what the final prize will be. Finally, the system announces he's won the complete Shadow Flow outfit and a rare skill scroll to boost his stats. Looking at the rewards, our MC looks bummed when he realizes the Platinum Scroll is a total mismatch for his class and complains about the wasted effort. On top of that, the guy notices that Jiang Yunqing has a pretty guilty look on her face and wonders if his bad luck has something to do with her being there. Because the girl finally musters up the courage and reveals that her awakened class is actually a super rare 7-star Soul Healer. As soon as he hears this, our boy is in total shock as the system beeps, announcing she's now officially part of the team as his new partner. Meanwhile, in another part of the map, things are getting ugly, with several players being eliminated by a sinister presence that won't stop attacking. Walking coldly over the defeated, someone shows that the competition here is life or death, and the number of victims just keeps growing. Letting out an icy sigh, the new enemy demonstrates a bizarre frost power that freezes the air and makes the dungeon's atmosphere heavy. Stating that the weak can only walk the path of death, this villain is already looking for his next target to meet his grim mission's quota. However, a girl with purple hair appears, staring at the trail of destruction and the skeletons on the ground with a look full of fury. At 12:30, large ice spikes sprout from the ground, indicating that a high-level battle is destroying everything around. Acting fast, the young woman runs through the frozen scenery, trying to get a better position so she won't be caught by a surprise attack. Standing on top of a cliff, the girl monitors every suspicious movement down below, while trying to catch her breath from the run. Fixing her gaze with complete seriousness, she shows she won't back down, even after realizing her opponent is a true monster in combat. Because just below, a dark silhouette moves through the bushes, revealing that the ambush is ready to be sprung at any moment. Finally, she leaps into the fight, and the impact of her foot on the ground shows that things are about to go down in this next insane battle against the ice. A sinister look loaded with malice watches the prey's every move as tension takes over the icy environment. Suddenly, the attacker leaps from a rock with his heavy weapon, leaving the purple-haired girl in total shock at the speed of the attack. The impact of the blow cracks the ground and kicks up dust as the villain claims he's just playing a hunting game, as if she were a helpless animal. Gritting her teeth hard, the girl tries to stay focused, even realizing she's up against a much more experienced and dangerous opponent. On top of that, the guy lands with extreme confidence and comments that he didn't expect a girl from that academy to last this long. However, he starts mocking the skill level of the students from that place, stating that most of them are just a bunch of future losers. Showing off his giant blade with a smug smile, the villain wonders why she insists on fighting a battle that's already lost. Because right after, the psycho reveals that his level 10 mission requires him to eliminate 50 players to get his first promotion. Hearing that bizarre confession, the young woman realizes the enemy traveled from another city just to cause a massacre in the beginner's zone. Smiling like a maniac, the guy declares he's going to take everyone out because the weak only serve as stepping stones on his path. Acting with an absurd bloodlust, the villain charges at her once again, ignoring any kind of pity or hesitation. Quickly, the girl tries to dodge the fatal blow, stepping over mortal remains that prove she wasn't the only victim that day. However, the attacker destroys the summoned skeletons with a single move and claims those low-level toys don't last a second against him. Fixing his gaze with pure hatred, the guy warns that the fun is over now and he won't give the girl any more chances to escape. Finally, he unleashes a bloody slash technique that lights up the whole scene with a destructive and overwhelming red energy. Breaking out in a cold sweat, the young Ji-Yal closes her eyes, expecting the final blow, but realizes the blood attack was blocked at the last second. Because a blast of energy appears in the middle of the path, sending the villain flying while the mysterious hero steps up to take over the fight. Taking advantage of the pause, other students shout to the girl, telling her they've arrived to provide backup in this intense combat. Looking closely, the young woman recognizes the blue-haired guy and remembers he was an old classmate. On top of that, the archer already draws his bowstring, ready to fire magic arrows at the maniac who was clearing out the area. Meanwhile, in another part of the cave, the system beeps, showing it's time to hand over the treasure fragment to complete the mission. Looking at the screen with satisfaction, our MC comments that he's finally completed all the requirements for this annoying objective, because right after, the promotion stats appear, revealing that Su Ming is now officially a sword god with double the strength and speed bonuses. Walking alongside Jiang Yunqing, our boy states that he's now fully confident he can crush the secret boss hiding out there. However, the hero senses something different in the air and decides it's the perfect moment to use that scroll he got from the chest. Quickly, the interface confirms the use of the soul healer item, and a bluish light begins to envelop his new partner's body. Her eyes widening, Jiang Yunqing feels an insane power coursing through her veins as she grips her staff firmly. What's more, the system details that she has unlocked a platinum-level ability that grants a 200% experience bonus to the entire party. Losing his cool completely, our boy yells in shock when he reads the broken value of this multiplier that's gonna make them level up like crazy. Finally, the young woman looks at our boy with a blushing face, because not even she believed she could unlock such a divine technique. Thinking about the girl's insane luck, our MC gets a sly look on his face, knowing that experience bonus is way too valuable for him to pass up. Soon, the hero points the way and says he's changed his mind, agreeing to guide the young woman through the map, which makes Jiang Yunqing jump for joy. On top of that, the girl explains that her sister's guards couldn't handle the lair, while our boy decides to put up with the rich kid because of her broken ability. Suddenly, our MC's eyes go wide because he gets an audio alert coming straight from his notification system. On top of that, a yellow letter pops up on the screen, revealing some urgent info about the girl named Ji-Yo. Meanwhile, the red-haired villain raises his giant weapon and gets ready to unleash a heavy blow. Crashing down with full force, the attack creates a huge fissure as the attacker tries to crush anyone in his path. With a look of pure contempt, this maniac gives off a dark aura, and it looks like he won't stop until he's cleared the battlefield. Trying to react, the blue-haired hero fires the magic sealing arrow, creating a bright green trail in the air. But the impact just creates a cloud of dust because the opponent is way tougher than the group imagined. His eyes widening, the student realizes his secret technique was broken with a single move, and fear starts to take over. Running toward the danger, the guy yells for his brother as the situation in the dungeon gets more and more desperate. Reacting with absurd speed, the villain activates the flying blood slash and launches several red energy blades. Standing in the middle of the destruction, the attacker looks at the trail of defeated players and shows that no one there is on his level. Shaking with fear, Ji-Ya and her friend realize their team has been wiped out and they're completely surrounded by this monster. Facing his opponent, the blue-haired hero comments that he's never seen someone so broken come from that student academy. Gripping the hilt of his sword, the villain shows an extraordinary mastery that only someone with a legendary talent would have. Finally, the system reveals that this guy is Li Chengguang, a 10-star genius who has the secret blade fiend class. Looking at the survivors, Li Chengguang comments that only 2 are left and complains that his kill count is still only at 30, 5 out of 50 souls. Breaking out in a cold sweat, the blue-haired archer, Yanzi, asks if Ji Yao can hold out for some kind of backup as the situation gets more desperate. Unfortunately, the young woman looks into the void and realizes there's no one around to help, while Su Ming's name glows on the system interface. With a cruel gaze, the villain sees that his prey is totally isolated and has no hope of escaping their dark fate. Attacking with insane speed, the blade fiend charges at the archer, announcing he'll get rid of the nuisance first. Screaming desperately, Jiao orders Yanzi to run immediately, claiming she'll try to hold the monster back herself, no matter the cost. However, the attacker scoffs at the girl's effort and states that she has no strength to try and save anyone in her condition. Staring at his prey with hatred, the villain shows that his bloodlust only grows with every second of the fight, because right after, he claims that the weak have no right to protect anyone and prepares the final blow to end this little game. Suddenly, a huge explosion of energy takes over the place as Ji Yao's name echoes through the chaos. Her eyes widening, the girl is in shock as she realizes our MC has finally appeared to turn the tide of this lost battle. Standing on top of a rock, Su Ming has an overwhelming presence that leaves everyone there speechless. Maintaining a completely serious expression, our boy shows he's not going to let this genius from another city get away with this cowardly act. On top of that, the system displays the warning message the young woman sent, telling the hero not to go near the dangerous 9 o'clock region. Finally, our boy remembers how in his past life, Ji Yao fearlessly sacrificed herself to save him, and decides it's his turn to return the favor, with interest. Our boy realizes that Ji Yao is in danger again in this life and gets pensive about her fate. What's more, our MC sees the warning message and notes that even in trouble, the girl tried to protect others first. As he leaps into combat, our boy ignores the danger warnings, making Ji Yao let out a cry of surprise when she sees him there. Because the young woman's eyes go wide, not believing that the guy showed up in the middle of all that chaos to face the villain. Sticking the landing in style, the hero tells her to stop worrying about others and declares that in this life, he'll guarantee her safety. With a look of pure determination, our MC shows he's ready to take on anyone who crosses his path. However, Li Chengguang gets furious and raises his giant weapon, surrounded by a very sinister red energy. But the villain is in total shock when he realizes Su Ming is using the legendary flying sword control technique and is completely lost. Quickly, the blades slice through the air with absurd speed and hit the 10-star genius's defense dead on. Moving like a shadow, our boy zips across the battlefield, leaving his opponent completely disoriented in the fight. Unleashing a heavy blow, our MC makes everyone see that he's a very powerful 10-star blade master. On top of that, the hero faces the red-haired villain up close and charges forward with everything he's got to teach the attacker an unforgettable lesson. Because the impact of the collision makes the ground shake, as Su Ming states that he won't forgive anyone who hurts Ji Yao. Meanwhile, the archer Yanzi's jaw dropped by such strength and decides he'll provide support from a distance to help win. Finally, the system activates a strange effect around his blue-haired classmate, and he's surprised by what's happening now. As the beasts attack, Yanzi and Ji Yao notice their health is going up and ask who the kind soul helping them is. On top of that, Jiang Yunqing introduces herself with her glowing staff, stating she's our MC's new partner and a respectable soul healer. We also see the group relieved, because having someone to restore their health in the middle of this mess is the best luck they could have had. However, Ji Yao is puzzled because she remembers our boy had said he preferred to play solo, but the healer says she's still getting the hang of things. Because the archer urges her to hurry with the support, since Su Ming is facing that dangerous villain alone, and any mistake could be fatal. But the young woman tells him to chill because she guarantees our boy is way more broken than anyone imagines. Meanwhile, the hero continues his combo of fast attacks, leaving Li Chengguang completely lost with his insane movements. However, the villain stammers with rage and wonders how a simple blade master can have such off-the-charts power. Finally, the attacker breaks into a cold sweat as he realizes our boy's technique is superior and the fight is getting completely out of his control. Facing his opponent with total coldness, our MC shows he's not the least bit intimidated by the rival genius's reputation. On top of that, the two move across the battlefield as the impact of their blows makes everything around them shake, proving this is a high-level fight. Admitting the hero is much stronger than his research indicated, Li Chengguang realizes he underestimated the kid's talent. However, the villain declares it's time to decide who's really in charge and challenges our boy to a final duel between the 10-star classes. Hearing his opponent's name, our MC gets thoughtful and tries to remember where he knows this Li Chengguang from, because he soon remembers that this guy was a legend in his past life, but fate never gave them a chance to cross paths before. Flashing a slight smirk, our boy realizes this is the perfect opportunity to change the course of history this time around. Advancing with a contained fury, the hero unleashes a strike of light and wants to see if the rival's defense can take the hit from his blade. We also see the weapons clashing and creating an explosion of sparks as the two fighters test each other's strength in the middle of the dungeon. Suddenly, the villain activates his blood blade technique and launches several red projectiles toward our boy's chest. Acting with ninja-like reflexes, Su Ming wonders if the guy really thinks he's going to win using such a played-out strategy. But our MC stands firm, blocking the rain of attacks, and soon notices the mood of the fight has changed in a very strange way. However, Li Chengguang lets out a wicked laugh and yells that the hero fell right into his trap without even noticing the real danger. Because the system then activates the body paralysis effect, trapping our boy in a red energy circle that keeps him from moving. Finally, the attacker takes advantage of the opening and goes for the finishing blow, announcing that the game is over for the Blade Master. Concentrating a bizarre red energy in the palm of his hand, our MC shows he still has a super broken trick hidden up his sleeve. Right after, he unleashes his sword mastery, creating a destructive pillar of light that makes the cavern floor tremble with all its might. Taking advantage of this power explosion, our boy manages to break the paralysis seal and gets away from the danger with absurd agility. Flashing a sarcastic smile, our boy announces that now the fun and games are over and orders his blades to return to his command. Quickly, the weapons obey the call, slicing through the air at high speed as they surround the opponent, leaving no escape route. On the other hand, Li Chengguang believes the hero is completely defenseless without the sword in his hand and prepares his final attack with a lot of confidence. However, the villain is caught by surprise by an invisible blow that leaves a trail of heavy damage on his chest, forcing him to retreat. His eyes widening, the 10-star genius is filled with rage because he can't understand how he was hit in such a humiliating way. Gripping the hilt of his weapon firmly, our MC prepares to end the dispute while maintaining total focus on his opponent's movements. Realizing things aren't going as planned, the attacker notices that our boy is on a higher combat level. Suddenly, the system shows the activation of the Hidden God Step, revealing a new and very broken gold rank movement technique. Furious, the villain unleashes the 5 Shadow Blades attack, trying to slice the hero up with a sequence of frantic and dangerous cuts. Dodging every move with extreme ease, our boy leaves only after images behind as the speed bonus glows on the screen. Breaking into a cold sweat, Li Chengguang realizes the guy's speed has drastically increased and starts to panic in the middle of the fight. Finally, Su Ming appears right in front of the villain and apologizes ironically before preparing his definitive finishing blow. Our MC flashes a victorious smile and celebrates because he's regained full control of his weapon to end the fight once and for all. We also see Yan Zi and Ji Yao announcing that the healing is done and they're running to provide the necessary support in the fight. However, the blue-haired hero's eyes go wide as he realizes something bizarre is happening right in the middle of that dust cloud. Because the smoke starts to clear, revealing the silhouettes of the fighters while everyone holds their breath to see the result of the impact. Walking with great difficulty, the red-haired villain shows he took heavy damage, but still tries to stay on his feet, even though he's all beat up. Standing there completely calm, our boy wonders if the showdown has finally ended or if the enemy still has gas in the tank for another round. Meanwhile, his friend's eyes are shining with admiration because they've never seen such insane power from a regular student. We also see the group praising our boy for crushing a 10-star opponent in such a short amount of combat time. However, Li Chengguang starts to radiate a sinister reddish energy, proving that he still hasn't accepted the humiliating defeat he suffered. Suddenly, Jiang Yunqing lets out a desperate warning shout, telling the hero to watch out for a treacherous attack from behind. Fixing his gaze seriously, our MC notices the dangerous movement but stays totally calm to react at the perfect moment, because the villain tries a desperate blood strike but ends up leaving a huge opening that our boy notices immediately. Seeing the scene, the archer Yanzi is in absolute shock at the bizarre turn of events happening right before his eyes. On top of that, the healer makes a face of terror because she's afraid her partner will be hit by that deadly blade technique. Finally, Ji Yao screams Su Ming's name as the tension hits its peak in the middle of that cursed forest. Staring intently at the enemy, our MC notices that the red energy circle is getting tighter and tighter around him. Suddenly, the villain unleashes the rapid rainforest knife technique, creating a storm of slashes that tears through the air with brute force. On top of that, the blades circle the hero like a deadly hurricane as the scarlet glow takes over the entire cavern scene. Laughing like a true madman, Li Chengguang states that Su Ming fell into the perfect trap and welcomes him to his extermination field. Desperate about the situation, Ji Yao tries to run and help our boy but is held back by the archer Yan Zi, who tells her to keep it together. Because right after, the blue-haired hero warns that entering that circle of blades now would be the same as making a fatal, one-way mistake. However, the young woman yells to be let go and claims she'd rather risk her own life than let our MC fight alone in that place. Her eyes widening, the girl is shocked when she hears a firm voice telling her to listen to her friend's advice and not get close to the danger. Finally, our boy faces the chaos from a distance and orders Ji-ya to keep back because he plans to handle this his own special way. And if you want to see what happens next, just let me know in the comments and drop a like.